Hello and welcome to Talking Schmidt. I'm your host, Eric Schmidt.
Hello, I'm Greg Burmeister.
And today we have our good friend, Michael Q. Knight. Mike, welcome to the podcast.
Michael Q. That's
I believe
right,
the Q stands for Quaalude.
Quaalude.
I'm told the Q stands for Quaalude.
Yes, it does. My parents were druggies.
That's not true. None of this is true.
No, none of that is true.
I just know-anded, or I know-butted.
You know-ord.
I know-ord.
You just know-ord me.
So what is your real middle name, Michael?
My middle name is Andrew.
Michael
Andrew,
Knight.
yes.
Mac.
Mac
That's
Ryder.
pretty good.
Greg's a Gab, I just found out.
Yeah, I'm a Gab.
Oh, a Gab?
Yeah.
A Gabber?
Yeah, well, this is appropriate.
Exactly. That is very appropriate.
Michael, you had an ancient illness.
No, I want you to tell me what you are. Before we go any further, what are you?
I'm not doxing well, we're not saying his middle name or mine. We're not doxing ourselves.
Yeah,
we just
but
wanted
you're
to
a
dox
Gab.
you.
He's a Gab. I'm a Mac. What are you?
I'm an S. Middle initial is an S.
EES.
No, ES.
That would be an ease.
Ease. No,
Okay,
I'm
you're
S.
You're an S. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Now we can
talk.
go along.
Now,
Yeah.
Mike, at one point you had an ancient illness called tuberculosis.
I sure did.
What year was this? The 70s? When was tuberculosis?
This was back in '05.
Oh.
2005.
Oh,
that
my.
is.
What happened? How'd you get
I got
tuberculosis?
a case of tuberculosis.
Were you hanging out in some rough neighborhoods getting
I
tuberculosis?
sure was. Yeah. No. Actually, what happened was I was working as a waiter. It was my first job at a place called Bistro 1018.
Your first job in New York.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, you had jobs previously.
Yes, I had worked previously before getting
just
to New
making
York.
sure. I was like, what the hell kind of life of luxury were you living, man? What was your first job?
Paper route at 12 years old.
Hey, Sam, that was also my first
nice.
job.
Nice.
I mean, you're really...
That's why we're salt to the earth guys, and this guy's a highfalutin.
Yeah, well, I like how
Asshole.
Whoa, buddy. I like
sorry.
how you've had like such classic American things like tuberculosis and paper routes. I mean, this is great, man. All right, so you're working as a waiter at some place here in the city.
Yeah, it's called Bistro 1018, and I had 3 roommates. I guess we can keep their names out of it, but one of them worked at the Olive Garden in Times Square.
I also worked at the Olive Garden.
Did you work there in 2005?
Not at the Times Square one. This was in Minneapolis.
That's where the case broke out. So
Wow.
one of my roommates, was dating a girl at the time, and
Nice, good for him.
yeah, that was awesome. We were really proud of him.
nice.
Dating a girl, my God.
We were really proud of him.
Yeah. Now,
and
why women would want to date men, I don't know.
Do you want to
All
hear
right,
the
sorry,
story?
go ahead.
Jesus Christ, I'm being interrupted over here, Greg. So I'm just joking, Eric. You can talk whenever you want. It's your show.
Yeah, well, I thought so.
But she was staying over at our apartment all the time and just coughing
Nice.
constantly. And
Oh, no, that's not nice.
yeah, that was not nice. This is pre-COVID, by the way. So we were like, what the hell? Is she dying in there? What the fuck's going on? Mike, what is going on with I just doxed him, I guess. His name was Mike. I won't reveal his
Oh, I
last
thought you were
name.
talking about talking to yourself.
No,
I'm like, damn,
no.
Was it you that had the girlfriend?
No,
Nice, dude.
no, it wasn't. No, that's the big.
I knew this guy. He had a
That's the big reveal in 2 minutes.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. That's the big reveal in 2 minutes. No, I had another roommate named Mike, and we were like, "Is she dying in there? What the fuck's going on?" And then he's like, no, it's just smoker's cough. And we were
Yeah.
like, "No, that's not, dude."
She doesn't smoke.
Yeah, exactly. She didn't, but he did, like 3 packs a day.
Oh,
but
dear.
so anyway, about a week later, we come to find out that she literally had tuberculosis and was staying in our apartment for that week and a half run up to.
I was unaware
that.
there was an outbreak of tuberculosis that centered, like the ground zero of it was the Times Square Olive Garden. That's
yeah.
hilarious. That's what you'd expect.
Where else would you expect it to be?
Yeah,
to be
for
honest with
sure.
you? I mean,
well,
that
in
seems
areas
like the
with
perfect.
low, vaccination rates, I would expect. But wow, just.
Yeah, what year was this?
I think it was 2005. It was
that's
either
right.
2004 or 2005. I'm almost positive it was 2005.
I was going to say, I actually did go there before I moved to New York. Because I was working at the Olive Garden in Minnesota. I was going to see if I could transfer just so I would have some kind of work lined up.
Yeah.
And I went and met with them, and they just
Greg, you're so fucking
ghosted
responsible,
me.
bro.
Yeah.
And they
Thanks,
ghosted
dude.
you?
They ghosted me. Never
listen.
called me back. Never replied to me.
Listen, if you're some fucker at Olive Garden that works there, then you go fuck yourself, all right? That's bullshit what you
Yeah.
did to my homie.
Yeah,
Greg.
and maybe
bad.
that's why tuberculosis happened there.
Yeah, I'm heard it's pronounced tuberculosis, though.
Oh, sorry, tuberculosis
Your
happened
Canadian
there.
accent really came
Yeah,
out. That's how they
I am
pronounce
from Canada.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to dox you again.
Yeah,
like, man, I'm learning I got this guy's middle name. I got what country he was born in.
I think we already doxed myself.
You got any passwords you want to tell people?
By the way, I went to
Social Security.
I went to text both of you today, and the first thing that popped up was that picture that you superimposed my 7-year-old face. Yes. I'm standing in between you guys, and then it's just my 7-year-old face on it. Yeah. And I showed it to Isabel, and she started crying. She was laughing so hard.
So you guys, listeners and viewers, you'll want to go back to the past episode we did with Michael Knight where we discussed that he used an ID when you were how old? You were like 20?
I was in my late 30s.
In his late 30s, but the picture was still of him when you were 7?
I was 7 years old.
Yeah, so that's a fun story. We're not going to talk about that this episode because we were talking about that in a past episode.
Let's get back to tuberculosis.
Yeah, so then I guess you got
tuberculosis.
So then you made out with Mike's girlfriend and got tuberculosis from her.
Well, I slept with Mike's girl. No, I'm kidding. I didn't. She was just in the apartment for that entire week and a half. So what was it? I guess the New York State Department of Health got in touch with the entire apartment, got our cell phone numbers somehow, I guess tracing or whatever, and we had to get tested. They were like, you have been in the same apartment with this girl, and she's definitely got tuberculosis. You all have to come get tested. So all of us go get tested once. I remember that we were supposed to go back.
How do they test for that?
They stick a needle in your arm and like they prick you.
Not me, dude. I'm not getting that shit.
Yeah, I know. It was terrible. I should have never done it because they pricked me. And 3 days later, you're supposed to go back. And if you have a bump, that's how they tell. I mean, the testing is from like the late 1800s. They were still doing the same shitty testing.
They were putting microchips in people then?
Yes.
That's wild, dog.
No.
Way before that Elon Musk guy.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, so they pricked me, and 3 days later, we're all supposed to go back. But then the job that I had at the time, I had to work a double because there was a huge like snowstorm, and they were like, the rest of the wait staff can't get in, and you're right down the street. Can you work a double? And I was like, well, I'm supposed to go get this test read for TB. And the restaurant people were like, we don't care.
Wow,
you're going to work the double.
Christ.
So I worked the double, didn't go get tested, and the Department of Health got in touch with me, and they said, you need to get tested again. And I said, well, I didn't have a bump on my arm, just like the rest of the guys in my apartment. They said, we don't care. We need to see it ourselves. So I went back in, they pricked me again, and then the second time, I had a bump on my arm.
Which means you have tuberculosis.
Yes, correct. So I went back in and they said, oh, well, you need to be on medicine now, just like your roommate Mike and his girlfriend. And I said, well,
what was her full name?
Where does she live now? What's her address, by the way?
Wait, what was the name of the restaurant you were working at?
I was working at Bistro 1018.
Are they still around?
They were working at the Olive Garden.
No, I know, but are they still around? This bistro?
Neither of the places are still around.
Good. What kind of fucking assholes make you come in when it's possible you have tuberculosis? For God's sake,
right? It's ridiculous.
This is fucking the economy.
So the economy. So I go back. I have the bump, and they're like, "We need to put you on medicine right now, and it's going to be random. You'll either be on this new stuff that you take 3 times a day for like 3 months, or you'll be on the old regimen, which is 1 pill a day for a year."
Good God.
And I said, can I just be on the 3 pills a day? And by the way, how crazy am I that I'm like, just give me more pills and make it faster and I'll be done with it.
Yes. Let's expedite this.
Experimental? Great. Put me on that stuff. No, but I was like, yeah, put me on that. I literally said that. And they said, well, it's random. And I got the 1 pill a day for a year. I was like, fuck, I don't want to take this shit for a year. And
yeah, that sounds like a pain in the ass.
So
real pain in the nards.
It's a pain in the nards, dude, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So 6 months later, they say, the Department of Health again, they're working on a blood test that's way more reliable. Can we test you with this? And I was like, fuck yeah, you can. Yeah, please do that. And they do, and the test comes back negative. I don't have tuberculosis. They think it's because they pricked me the second time in the same arm, in the same place, and that's why it showed up with a bump like that.
So this tuberculosis story doesn't even have tuberculosis
in it?
Yes,
correct.
What the fuck?
And I'm on medicine for 6 months, and I'm like, this is great. I can get off this shit now, right? And they're like, well, no, you're part of the study now. You have to take it the rest of the 6 months.
What the fuck?
And I was like, even though this blood test that's more reliable, and they're like, well, it's not FDA approved, so we can't use that as a checks and balances thing.
These Pfizer fucks,
I know. We just wanted to run the test for our, even though it's not FDA approved, we still think it's like 90% more accurate.
You just became the subject of a research
So I was just
study.
like a fucking lab rat, basically. Yeah. So
that's terrible. They do that to you.
Yeah. So
and just because you're a Canadian.
Yeah.
I can't believe they.
I think it's because of that.
Yeah,
It's got
that's fucked
nothing
up,
to
man.
do with anything else other than the fact that I'm Canadian.
But your luck would change soon, right, Michael?
Yes, it would, my friends.
What happened?
Things would go my way
That's what we like to hear.
instead of this tuberculosis way.
Whoa, what?
Yeah, I don't know what that means, but
All right, go. So what happened?
so about 4 years later, I
minding your business.
I'm minding my business on the golf course.
Tuberculosis free.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Which is the way to be,
Tuberculosis
kids.
free.
Remember, tuberculosis.
Skipping, jumping, clicking my heels.
Wearing a shirt that says tuberculosis
Yeah.
free is
Don't
the
worry-
way to be.
Don't worry about me. I'm tuberculosis free.
I do not have tuberculosis.
That's what it said on the back in all caps.
That's good.
You got to reiterate for anyone walking
Yeah, I
behind
don't
you.
have tuberculosis. In all caps on the back.
So there you are, stressing that you don't have
Yeah,
tuberculosis.
to anybody that'll listen out on the golf course.
The golf course.
We're playing.
What is this? What is this golf tournament you're in?
We're playing in the United Restaurant and Tavern Owners Association, the URTO.
But you weren't an owner.
URTA, whatever that.
You weren't an owner then. How'd you get invited?
I
to that?
wasn't. No, I was. My dear friend Paul, who
Yeah.
was a GM at McGee's at the time.
Oh, that's the place that does the. They're
How I
known.
Met Your Mother.
They're known for the How I Met Your Mother.
That was
yeah.
right across the street from Barcy. That's how we got to know him. So.
Barcelona Bar, by the way.
Barcelona Bar, yeah. I abbreviated it Barcy. He invites me to go do this tournament with him, and I, happily accepted. I love golf. I had recently found out that I was tuberculosis free.
Yeah, sure.
What better way to celebrate
Exactly.
than
Then
a
4 years
round of
later with the
golf?
golf tournament.
You were like, Paul. I've been looking for a way to celebrate
And
my
this
tuberculosis
sounds like a
freeness.
fantastic
Yeah, this sounds
time.
like a great opportunity to do it.
Yeah. So we go to this golf tournament, and any golf tournament worth its weight in salt, they have prizes there. So,
I love a prize.
Yeah, who doesn't love a prize?
What kind of prizes did they have?
They had the raffle at the end, dinner,
Like a TV,
breakfast.
VCR kind of situation prize, or
More golf related than that.
Oh, okay.
Like bags,
tees?
golf trip.
Golf trips. That
stuff like
sounds
that.
fun.
Yeah, golf.
If you're into
bags,
golf, I guess. Yeah.
lessons, balls, shit like that.
Sick. Balls. Shit.
Balls, shit, ass, fuck. My Tourette's is
This
kicking
is
in
quite
again.
the tournament.
We're getting to Tourette's in a little bit. But
This is quite the. Greg said this is quite the tournament.
yeah, it
The
was.
stakes have never been higher.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so you're out there, tuberculosis free, you're
Yep,
golfing.
golfing,
There's prizes at
tuberculosis free.
stake.
Yep, prizes, shit, ass. We get to, it's a shotgun start, so we start at 16. We get to 18. We're 2 holes deep, if you will.
What does shotgun start mean? I don't know what that means.
Oh, well, so there's 150 people at this tournament.
That sounds
they
like
all
a
can't
lot.
start at hole 1.
Oh, yeah, 'cause
they
that would take
spread
too damn
out
long.
across the course and,
Okay.
and start that way. But so yeah, the grand prize of the whole thing was if you hit a hole in one on the 18th hole, you get.
Oh, it had to be on a specific hole.
Yeah, it had to be on the 18th hole, which was a par 3, and you had to hit a hole in one, and it had to be on your first shot, obviously, and
Right, that's a hole in one.
yeah, you can't take. There's no mulligans allowed in a tournament like that.
Oh, whoops! Give me another.
Yeah, go ahead, toss me a ball real quick. I want to try a third time. So no, yeah, I stepped up to the tee. I swung. I hit a good shot. I knew it was a good shot. And,
Felt good leaving your hands.
Lo and behold, it rolled. It took about 5 or 6 bounces and went straight into the fucking.
Wow.
That's amazing.
And
Congratulations.
you won a free golf ball.
Yep, I want a free sack of shit.
Oh dear.
Uh-oh, no,
So
my
you
Tourette's
won.
again.
So wait, you won. So you won 25. Now, so this was like announced, or like if you hit a hole in one on 18.
Yeah,
you win
no,
25
they
grand.
had the
So you knew
big
that
giant
going in.
billboard on the 18th. Hit a hole in one, you win $25K.
Wow.
Wow.
There was no tricky anything about it. Like they just took the people who saw you do it, their word, or
So no,
were there people that were watching?
Obviously there's some hoops you got to jump through. In 22 or 23 years, it had never been done before. They get a person that has to be a witness that sits out there. They tell them. They said to this young lady, they were like, "Listen, bring a book. Just sit out there, read your book, get some sun." Nobody's ever done this in 22 years, and probably nobody ever will do this. All you have to do is you have to sit out there and make sure that nothing goes awry, you know? And so I hit the shot, and my buddy Gareth, who's standing behind me, he's like, "Oh, Mike, that's in the hole, I think." And he's an Irish guy.
Okay, yeah, I was going to say.
And I'm like, "Are you serious?" And he's like, "Oh, yeah." He's like, it's either off the green or in the hole. I can't see your ball." And so I start running down the fairway like an extra in Braveheart. 5-iron in hand, like,
I remember how those extras had 5-irons.
Yeah, exactly.
Weird part of the movie.
Yeah, they CGI'd the rest of it, like the accent. But yeah, my friend Bobby starts running behind me, and the girl starts, she's reading her book, but she looks up and she sees the commotion. So she's
probably like, "Hey, wait, don't touch it."
She has to get there before us. So she starts to get out of her chair and run over to the thing, and she's like, "Oh no, your ball's over there, your ball's over there." And I'm like, "That's not mine, that's my friend Paul's ball." And she points to like a bunker, a sand trap.
Man, you're really just outing Paul as a shitty golfer.
Yeah, he's infinitely better than me.
Can't wait to send him this clip.
Yeah. So we're still running. She's running. She's like, no. And I was like, that's not mine. And she runs up to the cup, and I'll never forget. She like looks down, and her face is like, and she like looks at me like, and her mouth is like dropped. And my friend Bobby just falls to the ground, and I still don't believe it. I have to see it to believe it. I run up, and sure enough, I like look down and I reach and grab, and it's the Titleist NXT 2 ball that I hit.
Wow.
And I just like threw my 5-iron 500 yards in the air, and I run to the nearest sand trap, and I do a front flip, and I start making sand angels, and everybody else is going bonkers.
And you were asked to leave.
Yeah, they kicked us out.
You're like, I'll buy another 5-iron with my taxable $25,000.
Excessive celebrating. This is all null and void. You do not get the prize. No, but we went absolutely nuts.
And what did you spend the money immediately on? Just like shit, just garbage,
exactly.
Just like weird
trash,
cool, like really expensive water guns.
Yeah,
Is that what you good at? You got really into those kind of things?
I sure did. Yeah.
That's what I would have done.
I started the league, water gun league.
Good.
Did you get one of those water balloon slingshots?
Those are fun.
Yeah,
it's the PWGL, Professional Water Gun League.
Love it. No, you saved the money, right, for like years.
I sure did. Yeah.
How'd you do that? Just being very. Did you put it in like a savings account and it grew a little bit? Or?
Yeah, I didn't really do much other than just put it away. Yeah, basically. I mean, obviously. So anyway, we're getting ahead of the story.
Did the newspaper run like an article about you where they like hero man recovers from tuberculosis, hits hole in one?
They should have. I feel a little gypped. To be honest with you.
Yeah, you're an American treasure.
No, but so let's rewind.
I am not.
I'm a Canadian treasure. We've already established that.
Oh, sorry. Well, this did happen in America, though.
So getting back to what you said, they don't just like walk up and be like, "Here's $25,000. Congratulations." I had to meet with an insurance adjuster 2 weeks later. My friend Bobby was a detective in the NYPD, and my friend Paul was another guy, and so I brought those two along back to the course 2.5 weeks later.
Did they give you one of those giant checks?
They gave me a novelty check.
Yes,
but
amazing.
after they laser measured out where I was standing, the guy asked me, he's like, "Where was the hole?" And so we were on the green.
They really didn't want to give you that money.
Yeah, no, of course they don't.
No.
It's $25,000. The insurance company doesn't feel like paying that out.
Yeah.
Insurance companies never want to pay anything else.
Oh, buddy.
We can get to that later.
Here we go.
So he's like, "Where was the hole on the green?" I said, "The hole was right here." He's like, "All right, take the cart back with me. Where were you standing on the tee box?" And then he's like, "Drive the cart back, stand at the hole. I have to laser measure this out." He picks out the thing, and so the longest...
Man, lasers are so cool.
The longest, I swear, probably the longest minute and a half to 2 minutes of my life was that drive from him coming to the tee to me.
Yeah.
Because I was so afraid he'd be like, "I'm sorry, this was like 5 yards off. No, we can't give you that money."
Yeah.
So I'm just sitting there standing with Bobby and Paul, and they're like, "Just relax. Like, it's going to be fine. Like, everything's going to work out." And I'm just like, pacing around. And he drives up and he walks up to the green. He's like, stuck out his hand. He's like, "Congratulations, man."
Wow.
Now, did Paul ask you for a cut of that at all?
No.
That's very nice of him.
Actually, what did happen, though, I took all three of those guys out for a great steak dinner.
Ooh.
Oh, that's so nice of you.
Yeah.
That's probably $30,000.
It was actually I went
New York
$8,000 in the
City
hole. We got a vintage bottle of De Plume.
Oh, very good. So you saved the money for a few years,
Yeah,
and then
sure
what did
did.
you end up doing with it?
I actually bought into Barcelona Bar.
Became part owner of a bar.
I
Buddy.
took every nickel of that, and every other nickel I had saved up until that point in my life, and still was only able to get a fraction of it. But
Still, though, I mean, an immigrant coming to this country, hitting a hole-in-one at golf, buying a bar with that money, that's the American dream, buddy.
Not getting tuberculosis.
Surviving tuberculosis?
Surviving a tuberculosis scare, that really is the American dream.
Never really having tuberculosis in the first place. That's the American dream, buddy.
Exactly.
Well, that's fantastic. I think they should have. I think they should have given you the right to vote. I think they should have made you a citizen immediately upon hearing this news.
I couldn't agree with you more.
Now, listen, if you're a representative or a senator or maybe the president of the United States watching this, I please. Come on, we got to do better than this in this country. I mean, this is the guy you want.
I mean, this guy. That reminds me, I'm going to be at the White House tomorrow.
Are you really?
Hey, can you ask your friend?
I actually
please.
Am. Yeah, I'll ask my friends down there.
Yeah, ask sleepy Uncle Brandon.
I mean, he'll probably be napping when I'm there.
Yeah, sure. Well, you could ask AOC. She's the one hosting you, right?
Yeah, she's the one who's getting me in.
Well, is this Bennifer?
Yeah. That's what he.
Hey, so I got this guy. He doesn't have tuberculosis.
Yeah, exactly. Is this Bennifer?
You know, he's always asking if it's Bennifer. You know, Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez.
No, it's your homie Greg.
He's always waking up from a nap asking if it's
is this Bennifer?
Is this Bennifer? Well, you didn't. Well, that's great, Mike. I'm so glad. I'm so glad you.
Thank you for the sincereness. In that
I'm so glad you experienced.
Well, that's great.
That's fine.
That's good.
Moving on.
Good for you, Mike. Yeah. But then your luck changed for the worse.
Yeah, it did. The pendulum swung again.
Oh no.
Yep.
What happened?
Well,
let's talk about
we skipped over something entirely, by the way.
What did we skip over?
When I contracted mononucleosis.
That's the next thing I have.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, that's what you told me. That's the order you told me to put that in.
Oh, well, okay. So,
by the way, we let guests just come in here and tell me what to ask them. I was like, here's what I want to talk about, Mike. He was like, no, turn that paper around, write some new shit on there.
This is my show now.
Yeah, this is the Mike Night. This is Talking Mike.
Talking Mike.
Well, that's not a bad name for a podcast.
Shitty Schmidt.
Yeah. Whoa, what?
Sorry.
So did the mono lead to the? So you had mono.
So yes, I did.
You were making out with chicks. It's probably making out with tuberculosis lady gave you mono.
Yeah.
Probably,
being honest.
because 5 years later, I forgot that Oh wait, no, yeah. So wait, no, this is in chronological order. I was right.
Good, yeah.
Yeah, I can't. My life is just a jumbled mess. So yes, the pendulum swings yet again, and I contract mono, and this time. It's for real.
Whoa,
oh, shit.
Bombshell.
No.
This is a Talking Schmidt exclusive.
No fake out. No fake tuberculosis scare.
Good.
This one's for real.
Let me ask you, are you farting or is that just the sound that happens when you shift in that chair?
I think it's just the sound that happens.
Okay, it's just been a slow and steady.
Well, I'll let you know if I fart.
I know. Well, we'll know from. I was like
probably the scent.
Yes,
yeah.
All right, so now
no.
what?
So yes, I contract mono, but it takes about 2.5 weeks for that to be diagnosed. Thank you. A huge shout out to the Ryan Chelsea Health Center on 46th and 9th. I don't know if they're still around, but that's where I went, and they immediately thought I had, because I was sick and I had the fever and chills. They thought I had.
COVID.
No,
I thought you were first COVID.
Patient zero of COVID.
Yeah.
No. Geez, I'm drawing a blank here.
I think
you have to get a spinal tap.
Yeah,
for
it starts with an M.
No, S, right?
No, I think it's an M. What's that called where you have
MRI?
Meningitis.
Meningitis. See?
Meningitis.
They thought I had meningitis.
I'm no fool. I know what's going on.
They're like, wait,
I'm
this guy's...
I'm a doctor.
Yeah, exactly. Dr. Schmidt. Mm-hmm. I walk in, I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of sick. I have fever and the chills and it's weird. And they're like, oh yeah, let's give you a spinal tap. You might have spinal meningitis. And I'm like, oh really? You think it's spinal, one of the worst things that you can possibly have? We're going to start there? So anyway.
They gave you a spinal tap or two.
Literally the very first day I went in there after I woke up.
Great movie, by the way.
Fever and chills. They're like, we're going to give you a spinal tap.
These go to 11.
Young kid. Yeah, exactly. This young kid comes in, and he's like, all right, are you ready for this? You got to bend over and pull up your shirt and just arch your back as much as you can. Long story short, I get 3 of those
Jesus,
in the same day, because apparently he wasn't getting to the point where you can extract the fluid. I guess he was a little
Why
nervous.
were they letting a child do this?
I don't know. Who knows what was going on there at the time. Anywho.
So your shout out was in jest.
It was a little bit, yeah.
Well, I
mean, they were trying to help me, but they just went about it totally wrong.
I hope they're closed just like that restaurant that made you work with
Who knows?
possible tuberculosis.
I don't know.
But then you ended up not having tuberculosis, so I guess they were in the right to make you work that day.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, we really changed our tune on, what were they called? New Orleans 1086 or some shit?
Bistro 1018. You're very close. Super close.
1080, Nintendo 64. That's what that place was called.
Exactly.
So you got mono. They're giving you all these. They're sticking you. They're prodding you.
They don't know that at first. They think it's spinal meningitis, so they start with 3 spinal taps. That comes back. The third one, after they finally got the fluid, they're like, nope, it's crystal clear. You're fine. It's not cloudy. And I was like, well, we could have started with the neck movement, so I can move my neck perfectly either side.
That's good to know.
And they were, but that wasn't good enough for them. So then they said, okay, we're going to ship you off to Mount Sinai.
Much better hospital, by the way.
On 60th and 10th, I guess it was. Which, ironically enough,
I'm going there tomorrow.
7 years later, my daughter was born there.
Whoa!
Yeah, so
full circle.
Shout out to them for real for that.
Shout out to my daughter.
Yeah, seriously. Hell yeah. So I go there, and they think, okay, maybe this kid's got West Nile virus, even though I told them repeatedly that I hadn't been out of the country.
I had not been to the West Nile.
Yeah, I've been nowhere near the Nile, my friends, and certainly not the west of it.
No, sure. That's where it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's the rough part.
But they thought I had that, so they quarantined me in that hospital for 3 days, 3 full days. I had to stay there, and anytime somebody came to visit me, they were put in basically hazmat suits.
Jesus.
Yep. So
should have saved those for COVID.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
If only we had the
foresight would be
to remember to know. Mm-hmm. Anywho, so after 3 days and tests and stuff like that, they're like, "Yep, you don't have West Nile," and I could have told you that. Yeah, I'm pretty certain it's not that. So a week goes by of still the same things, and like just a glutton for punishment, I go right back to the Ryan Chelsea Health Center, and I'm like, I'm still messed up. And this nurse comes in, and now, keep in mind, this is like, probably 12 to 13 days of this. This nurse comes in, and she's like, open your mouth for a second.
Nice.
And she looks at my tonsils, and she goes, go get a test immediately where they swab your tonsils. She didn't say mononucleosis. She says, just go get a test. They're going to swab your tonsils. Just do that real quick. And within,
so you go into a room,
within 10 minutes, this nurse was like, she comes into me. She's trying to be as calm as she can. She's like, you have mononucleosis. We just tested you and you have mono. And then she says, I'll be right back. And she shuts the door. And the doctors walk up to her. And she's like, this... And I can hear them outside of the door because it's not soundproof, the room, mind you. It's no longer Mount Sinai in this soundproof isolation ward. And she's like, you idiots, this kid just has mono. Like, you didn't start with the most basic thing. Like, he just has mono. And you put him through all of this shit.
West Nile, tuberculosis, all the hits.
Yeah, spinal meningitis.
Very fun.
So she comes back in and she's like, I'm so sorry, but yeah, it's mono. And she's like, you're significantly older than people that we see with this. So, kind of get ready for a rough ride. As the older you get, the harder it is on your body, basically. And I will never forget, she looks at me and she's like, so get ready for a rough 6 months. And man, did she lowball it. Like, it was like a rough 10 years of stuff.
Oh, shit.
Ooh.
Well,
wow, so really don't get mono, guys.
So that certainly
How old were you at the time? You kept referring to yourself as a kid, but you were...
I was 33, I think,
a very old kid.
Yeah, a very old kid. When I got
golly, what were you doing? Just making out with a lot of women at the time?
Who knows how I contracted it?
Just being a real sleaze around town?
Just trying to, exactly.
I mean, that's how you get mono, right? Is it from making out with chicks?
I guess. I mean, have you guys ever had mono?
No,
I've never made out with any woman.
For real? You guys have never had mono?
No.
We weren't very popular.
You realize 98% of the population has had that.
Greg and I weren't that popular in the 8th grade.
Yeah, we weren't spent a lot of time
neither was
indoors.
I. It took me till 33 to get it, by the way.
That's when you bloomed. You're a late bloomer.
Yeah, I was a late bloomer. Yeah.
But that is that what ended up making you deaf?
Well, yes. So, spoiler alert, a year and a half later, I lose hearing in my right ear. And I'm still convinced to this day, that was in, 2012 is when I September 6th of 2012.
Mitt Romney.
Yeah, huge.
Was all the rage.
Maybe
he did that.
I had his poster on my wall. By the way.
Dear. Well, that's probably what did it.
What do you mean, oh dear?
Well,
You think that was the curse of Mitt Romney?
I mean, listen, I don't want to have a conspiracy podcast on my hands, but I'm not saying it wasn't the Mitt Romney poster that did this to you.
It's not improbable.
Yeah, sure. I think there's a high likelihood that this Mitt Romney poster you have on your wall.
The curse of Mitt Romney. Yeah. I haven't taken it down, so fuck that. It's not going anywhere. That's my dog. That's my dog. Yep.
Yeah, sure. So you went deaf.
I did.
One year,
overnight. It was that has been the hardest thing that I've ever gone through in my entire life. I went to bed one night after work. It was a Monday, September 6th of 2012.
I was hanging out with you during that day.
You sure were. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you sure were. I think I met you shortly thereafter.
Yeah, right around that time.
Right around there. Yeah, exactly. I get home from work. It's about 5:30, 6 a.m. I go to bed. I wake up at 9 a.m. the next day, Tuesday, and with this like insane ringing in my ear, and I can't really hear in it. And, my girlfriend at the time, wife now basically, is like, you just hungover. Like, just drink a big glass of water and go back to sleep. And I was like, okay, but I don't think that's the case.
This has never happened before.
I barely drank at all. And I'm telling you, there's like this insane ringing in my ear. And she's like, just try it. And I'm just like, okay, drink huge water, go to bed, and wake up an hour later, same thing. And she's like, if you're that concerned, go to the doctor. And I didn't have health insurance at the time, so I went to a walk-in clinic. Shout out to that walk-in clinic right in Astoria.
Something tells me this is not a legitimate shout out.
No. Because the guy looks in my ear and, he's just a general practitioner. He's not like a ear, nose, and throat specialist. So he takes one look in there and he's like, everything looks fine. Like, maybe you have the beginnings of an ear infection. Here's a prescription for antibiotics. I didn't even fill it out because I knew it wasn't. I pulled my ear. I was like, it's not that, and so I figured it's just allergies. So I wait 7 or 8 days and then I'm like this. An hour and a half sleep every night. I'm like, this has got to change. Like, I can't keep doing this. And so I went to the ear, nose, and throat place on 14th and 2nd. And the girl takes one look at my ear. Dr. Kim, I believe was her name. And she's like, you have to immediately go across the street and get what's called a stat audio test done and bring it back to us the second they figure out the results. And so I go over, bring the results back to him, and he's, looking at it, it's like a graph. It means nothing to me at the time. And she's like, yep, okay, this is what I thought. And I said, what is it? And she goes, you have sudden sensory neural hearing loss. And I go, okay, well, how do we fix that? How do I get my hearing back? And she's like, how long did you say this has been going on for? And I said, about 8 days. And she's like, she kind of shakes her head a little bit. And she's like, we'll put you on a steroid regimen. And, you can only be on this for 7 days a week, and hopefully that changes something. If not, if your hearing doesn't come back by Christmas, it's probably not coming back. And I said, wait, so you're telling me this isn't like work related? Like I work in a loud bar? And she's like, it has nothing to do with that. I said, what about my diet? What about drinking? What do I need to do? Quit drinking? Work out more? Tell me what I need to. She's like, none of that matters. None of that matters. It's just
something that can happen.
Something that can happen to virtually anybody. And I said, so that's it? Like, you mean I have to just take this steroid and pray that my hearing comes back and the ringing goes away? And she's like, yes, basically. And so
Did you have any improvement from?
I took the steroid for 7 days and no improvement whatsoever. And Christmas came and went. In fact, I think things got worse over that period. And that was it. I learned to live with it. I had to go at one point to get a prescription for Valium because after about 2 weeks of the ringing, and averaging 2 hours of sleep a night, I was scared that I was going to do something. And so they said, here, take this prescription. This will help you sleep at night, and obviously the body will adapt. At some point, you'll adjust. And they were right. It did. And now I can, I'm able to sort of tune it out. And
oh, it's still there.
Oh yeah, like when I go to sleep at night, sometimes it just kicks right in, and everything's quiet. I can still hear it.
Jeez, it's your right ear.
Yeah, and I have ringing in my left ear because then I had a scare in 2018 with my left side too.
What percentage can you hear without assistance in your right ear?
Oh, zero.
0%. So 0 this side.
So this kind of leads into I have a scare 6 years later, 2018, in my left ear, because I'd learned to live with just being deaf in my right ear, but then I had a scare where I felt like I'd lost some hearing in my left ear, and I was terrified of going deaf.
Completely, yeah.
Yeah, and they said, well, the option is still, and this is something that we had talked about years before. They were like, the option is still there for you to get the cochlear implant surgery. Reveal. Ding.
There it is.
That's what that's called, a
Cochlear implant. And so I said, I think we need to strongly think about that. And my doctor at the time, David Friedman, shout out to him. He's an amazing surgeon. He was like, yeah, no, if you want to get this done, we'll fight on your behalf, the insurance companies and stuff like that, and we'll try and get this done. And so I said, yeah, I think we should, because at that point, that was the course of 6 years. I had gone almost completely deaf in my right ear.
So what percentage does that give you, the cochlear implant?
Oh, 100%.
Oh, cool. Okay. Well, that's good.
I mean, and you can adjust the volume and stuff like that, but I keep it a little lower just because I like hearing with my natural ear as much as I can. But yeah, no, the cochlear implant.
Can you play music through it, or
you can?
You can?
Well, not this one in particular.
Oh, okay.
This is called a Kanzo. I have another one called an N7.
So if you're just listening, maybe do go check out the YouTube version of this podcast, where there's a video where we show where you can see Mike's cochlear implant. It's just this thing on his head, just above his ear. The hair hides it. It's also kind of your hair color.
Yeah.
So I feel like a lot of people don't even really notice it until like I knock it off of you when we're playing basketball.
Yeah.
Then things get a little awkward.
Exactly. When I bully you. A lot of people don't notice it until I bully you and knock it off your head.
I don't think anyone that knows us would suggest I'm the one bullying you. By the way,
probably true enough.
Well, I'm glad that was an option for you, though.
Yeah, me too. So we actually eventually did that in 2018, and it's been amazing and life changing. And I, as sort of like a pay it forward thing, I volunteer at Bellevue, and they kind of like, I'm the unicorn, they call me, because I have one totally deaf ear that's got a cochlear implant, and I have one not so deaf ear, almost normal ear that can hear other things, and I can compare and contrast and stuff like that. And so
you also have a giant horn coming out of your head.
I do. That's that is also another reason why they call me a unicorn.
Mike,
can we impose one of this, by the way?
Yeah. Well, Mike, real quick, I'm sure we've gone over, but you've been such a great guest. It is softball season, right?
Oh yes, it is.
And things are going okay there.
No. God damn it, why'd you have to bring that up?
Oh well, my bad. Okay, so softball not going great, but what is poker? You're also like an avid poker. I mean, are you a professional poker player at this point? Do you think
not even close. I would say very much.
Well, not if Uncle Sam asks, right?
Yeah, exactly. What are you trying to do, buddy?
But you recently went down to Atlantic City.
I did. I did.
How well did you do down there?
I played.
You were in a tournament, right?
I was. Yeah, I played in the Almighty Million Kickoff Tournament in the Borgata Spring Poker Open. And I made it to day 2, and I finished 322nd, which doesn't sound good.
Terrible.
Yeah, it does. It does. Out of 325 people.
Ah, yes.
Wait.
No,
Not good.
I'm kidding. Yeah, no, I'm kidding. I finished 322nd out of 3,408.
Wow, that's really good.
That's good. That's good.
You must get to leave with some money at that point.
I did.
Right?
Yeah, not nearly
$25,000.
I
Again?
wish. No, not nearly as much as one would think. No, I basically broke even, and then a couple extra bucks. But
Mike, thank you for being here. This episode really had it all. We had some laughs. We had some heartfelt emotion.
I know, right? Yeah, exactly.
Greg, I think we did a great job.
I think we crushed it.
I think we owe it all to Mike. Actually.
Yeah, great job, Mike.
Always, guys, always a pleasure being with you. I love doing this podcast, and wish you the best.
Thanks.
How are you guys not famous yet? Are you in the top 5 on podcasts?
Yeah, I think so. Well, after this episode,
right below Rogan.
It's actually us, Rogan, and then
perfect.
This American Life.
Yeah.
So anyway,
awesome.
Thanks for listening, folks. See you next time. Talking Schmidt is recorded at Burmeister Studios in
Astoria, Queens.
Opening music is by Greg Burmeister. Closing music is by
Greg Burmeister.
Our intern is Jason Travis. If you like what you've heard, please like, follow, and write a review for us wherever you listen to podcasts. If you didn't like it, please keep listening to it, but keep your opinions to yourself. If you really liked it, you can find bonus episodes over on our Talking Schmidt Patreon page. Membership is just $5 per month, and it goes a long way to buy us the equipment and bourbon we need. Thanks in advance, and hope you're doing great.